Hello and welcome to a new episode of the gojenn videocast. It's been a while, hasn't it? I've been off traveling around the East Coast, which is, I live in Virginia, Southern Virginia, and last weekend my husband and I went up to Quakertown, Pennsylvania, which is where he's from, and I met family and friends that I've heard all these stories about. It was just wonderful. I will put a little slideshow of some pictures that we took at the end of the video, or which I don't know which way it is. How are y'all doing? Have you been okay? I have missed talking to you. I've been making all these notes. Don't forget to tell my friends about whatever, because I know. It's like we need to get together and catch up. I need to hear your news. I want you to hear my news so that we can celebrate each other's victories. This is my Grammy t-shirt. Isn't that cool? My co-Grammy, who is Nana to our grandson, she gave me this. And I just think it's just the best. It's so cool. Because you don't see Grammy things that often. A lot of grandma and Meemaw and stuff like that. So anyway, okay, so this is yarny. Let's get to the yarny part. I wanted to show you some things that I have finished since the last time I showed you. Here is a little sweater I made for my little girl Bella. It is crocheted, of course, made in 2 pieces because this little bit under her chest, from the neck to the tummy, that is sewn on after you've made the rest. I don't know what the real benefit of that is. I guess I don't really know what the benefit of, why not just go ahead, leave leg holes, arm holes, whatever. But anyway, she looks very pretty in it, although it is hot as blue blazes, so she doesn't need a sweater. She doesn't need any kind of clothes. And so she gets thrown around naked. Lucky her. Another project that I am currently working on, but not nowhere near finished, is this is going to be a baby blanket. And once it's blocked out a little bit, even though it is acrylic, you can still block it and it will stay. You can't block it like you can wool, for sure. But like this little element there, which is repeated across the width of the blanket, see, it needs to be pulled down so that you see that there's 4 little openings rather than just 2. This is a very easy pattern, and this is the pattern is called the midwife blanket, because the designer was watching the PBS program about the midwife in London back in the World War I times, maybe World War II, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But anyway, there is a blanket on one of the babies in this pattern, and so she figured it out and has made it freely available. So if you'd like to make something like this, you could look it up on Ravelry, midwife pattern, crochet. One thing I do like about this is you get the look of motifs that are sewn together without it being that, because this could be a motif here, the block here sewn to another block that's the same here, it's sewn onto another block here. But on this pattern, you just go all the way across, make your motifs, and then turn around and go all the way back. I love it. It is, like I said, it isn't a simple pattern. I like it. I don't know how people feel about this green. It's a Kelly green being a baby blanket, but I really like it. I like primary colors, and a gift, when you're making, I am making this as a gift. And all you have to do is make the gift with love and then send it out in the world. And if it's not received that way, it's okay. I don't care. All I can do is is put the love in it as I make it, knowing that I have an internet friend. She is a Ravelry friend who's expecting her first baby. And I wanted to make her a blanket and send it to her. So I'm making it with love for her and hopes for her child. So if she doesn't like it, if she says green and she gives it to Goodwill, that's wonderful. I'm all in favor. And then, drum roll. That's on my fat legs. It's finished. My trillion is finished. I absolutely love it. It does have this detail along two edges. A little lace detail. I love it. I am proud of it. It took me over 3 months to make. Of course, this wasn't the only thing I was working on, so I can't, but if it had been, I wouldn't have finished it because it would have driven me crazy. I can't stand to work on nothing but one big project. So this will be worn this winter when it's not 5 bagillion degrees outside. The pattern is by Martina Bang. It is the Trillion. It is, the yarn is by Gojenn. I have blocked it. I soaked it and blocked it last night. I used right at 520 some yards of yarn for this. I am very happy with it. I love it. I don't want to make another one anytime soon. I think I'd much rather make just another hitchhiker instead of the Trillion. Even though I like the little detail on the edge, I like the simplicity of the hitchhiker. But I am very thrilled to have this done. So you may be wondering how the Snapdragon is doing after it did not make it to the owl process. I think I've put it up. It's in timeout. I ran out of yarn on the last row, which the last row is very long and has a lot of stitches. Even though it is just one row, it's very wide and very long. And I ran out of yarn, so I'm trying to get some from people on Ravelry who may have a little bit of that yarn in their stash that they're willing to give away or sell, and so I don't have to buy a new skein, because it already has 2 skeins of Malabrigo, which makes it kind of a pricey thing. I was going to show you this. I'm going to make Lucky a sweater in the same pattern that I made Bella's, and his is going to be in this really pretty mustard color. Isn't that pretty? I think he'll look pretty in it. He'll look handsome in it. So, let me check my notes, because I had notes. I had so many things to tell y'all this time. Okay, the latest video I did make was the sticker organization, and I don't think people really like that much. It kind of hurt my feelings, but hey, it wasn't watched very much. So, let's see. Baby blanket. I was going to show you some stitch markers that I've made. I have put them in, the little tops that your styrofoam coffee cups come in. I don't drink coffee, and so I put it on my ice cup so that to keep it from melting as quickly, and then I bring it home and I can use it. I mean, it could be recycled with the plastics, yes, but I am recycling it by using it for stitch markers. This is a little red, white, and blue stitch markers. Yes, I was inspired by the Olympics. I just love seeing the athletes join together and work so hard. These are some Ravenclaw stitch markers. In the book, Ravenclaw was bronze and blue, but in the movies they were more of a silver and blue. So I kind of have all of that going on in these stitch markers that have a little gold type clasp. I like the clasp that I'm using because to me it's one-handed. You just have to push. Where is there? You just have to push that. I apologize for not being able to talk and do things all at the same time. There. Too close. You just push that in and the yarn will come out. I don't like the ones that has the little stick out, the little circles with this, because that little thing that sticks out will catch on your yarn and pull it, and I don't like that for stitch markers. So I've got a couple sets of stitch markers that I am getting ready to put up on Etsy. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you go take a look at these. It's an Etsy shop, Stitchy Markers, all one word. It's me, and my camera shut off on me really quickly there, and so I think I was all done talking, and I just wanted to be sure and ask you to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe to the videos if you like them. If you subscribe, you'll get an email that lets you know anytime I upload new content, so you can decide whether you want to watch it or not. If you don't like the planner ones, you can skip them. If you don't like the yarny ones, you can skip those. So, you know, it's totally up to you. I think I just wanted to say that here comes the video that is our little bit of travelogue on our way to Quakertown, Pennsylvania, where we, the trip was about 7.5 hours, and the first night we broke it up and stayed at a Cabela's, where they do have an area for you to exercise your dogs and cats and horses too. So if you're looking for somewhere to stop on a trip like that, please keep Cabela's in mind, and then give them some of your shopping dollars to say thanks. I want to say I don't think it's as clear in the little snippet of photos. The best thing about our Pennsylvania trip was having dinner, and after dinner with, which is my husband's family and friends, and so now they're my family and friends, and I got to meet them for the first time, and some of them, and it was just wonderful. It was well worth the trip. It was just wonderful, wonderful. And it was filled with laughter and love. That night, with family, telling old stories and laughing, so much laughter and so much love connecting everybody. It just doesn't get better than that. So I wish you the same. Lots and lots of love and laughter. Okay, so this is just a short little video of some pictures we took on our trip to Pennsylvania. We do live in Southern Virginia, right on the North Carolina line. So the trip from where we live to our destination, which was Quakertown, Pennsylvania, my husband's hometown, it took us, it was a good 7.5, 8-hour drive. We left on Friday after I got off work with the intention of staying somewhere that night, you know, like a Walmart parking lot or something like that. So anyway, we drove, and well, I didn't drive. I was the co-pilot. So I kept my husband company while he was driving. At that afternoon, I kind of felt like we were storm chasers, because we could see this storm coming in from the west. You see how the sky is just totally dark, and we knew it was going to hit us. We just didn't know how bad it would be when it got there. And it rained on us and rained on us, and then we drove out of it. Do you see that I took a couple pictures hoping you could maybe see this rainbow right there. And it was right in front of us. And so we drove on in from Virginia. We went through a little bit of West Virginia, a little bit of Maryland, and into Pennsylvania. We stopped at Cabela's in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and they have a great area for RVers. They have special parking. They have a pet exercise area for dogs or cats, whatever. And they also have a horse exercise area. So if that's something that you might need, keep Cabela's in mind. It was a very clean area, and I felt safe. So we were glad to stay there and get a couple hours of sleep so that we could drive on in to Quakertown the next morning. The first thing we did, because we'd gotten there before our reservations at the campground, the main thing I wanted to see, that my husband has told me so many stories, it's the Quakertown Farmers Market, or they call it the Q-Mart. And it's just a huge building with shops inside. I really had a great time. I would have probably bought more if my husband hadn't been with me, but he walks fast, and yikes. So I wound up just getting a buttered pretzel and some lemonade that morning. But I loved it there. It's kind of like an indoor flea market, but the stalls are permanent. And they have candy stores, a cheese shop, a couple of butcher shops with fresh meats, two produce shops, candy stores, the pretzel shop where I got my pretzels, bakery, shoe shop, you name it, furniture, all kinds of stuff. Just way better than a mall, because you didn't feel like you were paying overpriced amounts for the stuff. So I highly recommend it. If you're near Quakertown, stop by the Q-Mart. It's only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And but I really enjoyed it and would have liked to have spent more time there. We were still on the RV to get there, so our dogs were out in the RV, and we didn't want to leave them too long, and so it was kind of a quick trip. But there was definitely other things I would have purchased. There was a tie-dye shop. I would have gotten a couple dresses maybe, because I love tie-dye dresses. Okay, so after Quakertown Farmers Market, or the Q-Mart, we went to Quaker Woods Campground, which was there very close by. We got our camping spot, which was very unlevel, front to back, side to side. Each of the four wheels was at a different level, and it made for a pain in the neck. The campground seemed to be kind of crowded, but I think part of that was because it had a lot of permanent campers there, like people who lived in their camper in the campground. So, and of course, it was a really super hot day when we got there, and we were miserable. So we basically laid down to nap before we had a dinner that we went to with my husband's family and friends that are still there in Quakertown. And that was just a wonderful time. We had a great time, wonderful, loved it, had a ball. But after that, that was about it. We had been to Q-Mart, and I had met family and friends, and the campground was not very appealing, and so we left a day early. We were supposed to leave on Tuesday, but we left on Monday, and my husband drove the whole way himself. It was a good 7.5 hour trip. He doesn't mind driving, and I kept to check on him to make sure that he was eating and did he need something to drink and that kind of thing. We stopped at rest stops and walked the dogs, and so we did take a little bit of time, but not too much. We pretty much came on home, unloaded the camper, and that was about it. We were home a day early, which gave me one day to recuperate from the trip, because the camping's not tiring, but the driving is exhausting. And that's a picture of the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania that we crossed, and it was really a big, wide river with little islands of trees in the middle. This is the water tower that we saw at Mount Jackson, Virginia. I noticed it on our way up, but I wasn't quick enough to get a picture, so I was watching for it on the way back. It is beautifully painted. It is a basket of apples. Isn't that neat? I just thought it was beautiful. I mean, everybody's got to have a water tower. Why not make it gorgeous? And it really made me want a fresh apple. I didn't get one, though. So this was our trip back, and we had a great time, but we were both definitely glad to be home. Our next trip is over Labor Day, and we're going to a state campground in Virginia called Rudd's Creek. So that's our next adventure.